It seems to me that there's an awful lot of interest in spiritual things these days around our world and around our nation. And there's a lot of people who claim to have the answers to the question of how to be right with God and who God is and what God is like. So with so many different religions and denominations and cults and sects out there, and with so many different ideas about what the Bible means by what it says, who's to say who's right and who's wrong? I mean, how can you spot counterfeit teaching from the truth of what God's Word says? As many of you know, I spent a lot of years with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, and I spent about 10 years working for the U.S. government, and it was my job to take care of depredating coyotes that were killing livestock, domestic livestock. So I had a lot of opportunity to study and to examine coyote tracks. As a matter of fact, I've probably looked at tens of thousands of coyote tracks. But you know, when I first started with the outfit, I couldn't tell the difference between a dog track and a coyote track unless there was a lot of difference in the size. But you know, even with a dog track that's the same size as a coyote, there are enough differences between those two that you can really know the difference. So what I discovered is that the way to tell a coyote track from a dog track is not to study dog tracks, but to study coyote tracks. You see, when you study the real, genuine thing, and you learn what that is like, and you know what a real coyote track looks like, then you're not fooled by some other track, whether it's a fox or a dog or a bobcat or whatever, because to the untrained eye, they all look a lot alike. So what I want to do today, I brought you out here to the desert. We're going to take the camera in hand and kind of take you down the road a little ways, and we're going to take a look at some coyote tracks, and I want to kind of show you what I mean about the difference between a coyote track and all other tracks. So what we're going to do here today is we're going to walk down the road just a little bit, and I'm sure we can come up with a coyote track. There's lots of coyotes in this country, and the tracks are pretty much available. And what I want to do is kind of show you the difference between a coyote track and a dog track and how that correlates to our spiritual lives. As a matter of fact, once you recognize a coyote track in real life, and here's one right here, I want you to take a look at that, see how pointed the toes are and how sharp that track is and all those kind of things. As a matter of fact, in the spiritual life, the same thing applies. Because once we know what the real truth is like and what the real truth is, then the falsehood is really easy to spot. Okay, here's a pretty good looking coyote track right here. I don't know if you can see that. Let me see if I can get a close up here. Aim this camera right here. Coyote track is fairly sharp on the. Oh my God! Did you see that? Look at this right here. Look at this here. Can you see that? Look, there's another one. There's another one right there. Look at the size of that. Can you look at the size of that thing? There's another one there. And I heard. Did you hear that? Did you hear that? Where was that? It's right out here. I think it's out here. Let's go. What? Did you hear that? It came from over here. Bubba, is that you?
Dang it, I'd have had you if I wouldn't have fell.
You sorry. You're in trouble, dude. Hello, Debbie? Debbie, this is Pastor Dave. Bubba's going to be late for supper tonight.